Giannis. It is starting to look more and more likely that Giannis is going to be traded from the Milwaukee Bucks. And listen, this was something that we talked about a number of weeks ago, Josh, where we were kind of coming up with scenarios of where Giannis could go if he were to be traded. This was about the time where we weren't sure of what was happening. Now we're kind of getting a little bit better of an idea. Shams Charania coming out with the report saying that the Bucks are now listening to offers. They are taking offers on Giannis Antetokounmpo. So what happens now? Is Giannis, let me just pose the question to you this way.
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure now that Giannis is getting traded?
Yes.
So we're sure about that.
I think it's a definite that he gets traded. If not before the deadline, certainly in the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can pretty much pencil that in. And like we've talked about, we already came up with some fits a number of weeks ago, right? The Spurs we thought were a fit.
Yep.
The Thunder we thought were a fit. Now we're hearing a lot of motion about the Miami Heat potentially, which I must say, if it's the Miami Heat, that would be the most boring outcome of all time. Can you come up with a more anticlimactic destination for Giannis than the Miami Heat? I don't know that you can. The Heat are such a boring team to me. I'm sorry if you're a Heat fan. I really am sorry. But God, do they bore me. I don't know. I'd be so disappointed if Giannis got traded to Miami.
I honestly, I don't see Miami being able to do it just because I feel like the only way Miami could potentially do it is if they included Bam Adebayo, and you're not including Bam Adebayo.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think
you want to put Giannis with Bam Adebayo.
Exactly. So I don't see Milwaukee agreeing with Miami. A lot of the talk right now is also with Golden State. In the thoughts of, because Kuminga desperately wants out of there. He's been wanting out of there for like over a year now.
Kuminga has no market.
Correct.
Mike Dunleavy.
But he doesn't have a market because they're not playing him to let him try to have a market.
Yeah, they are kind of letting him rot.
Right. A little bit. So like, there's thought of, Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, who knows when he'll be back next year. And they do have a bunch of picks coming up. Mm-hmm. So would they be willing to make the move? Because then you essentially have your future plan of having Giannis there for Steph, in the next few years. He would eventually retire, and then it officially becomes Giannis's team. I just did one during the break, through Fanspo just for fun to try to see, for a team that's doing much better than anticipated, would they be willing to try to pull his trigger and try to win right now? And that's Detroit.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, I through Fanspo, I successfully made a trade that sends Giannis and his brother, Thanius, because, they have to travel together.
Thanius? I think it's Thanasis, but...
No, it's Thanius. We're going with Thanius. Oh. He has to earn that extra A in the name.
Okay.
I also can't read good. So
good numbers, not good words?
Correct. So apparently Fanspo allows the two of them to be traded to Detroit in exchange for Ausar Thompson, Tobias Harris, Karis LeVert, unprotected 2026 first, unprotected 2030 first, and their 2027 second round pick that they already got from Milwaukee and are giving back.
Wow.
So that gives them, that gives them a couple more, first round picks, a good young prospect in Thompson, and then contracts to clear in Tobias and Karis LeVert to then that's how you begin your rebuild.
Yeah. Is that enough? Like I just don't know if that's enough.
The big thing with Milwaukee is they have to they are not going to get a star in return.
No. I agree. The package they have to get back. Okay, and this is just the way that NBA trades work. They have to get back a slew of picks.
Yep.
And probably a bad contract or two. Right? Just to make the money work. So as unfair as it seems, like the Bucks are not going to be able to trade Giannis and get everything positive in return. They will have to take on some unwanted, overextended Robert Covington-ish contract for Giannis. Like it's just going to have to happen.
But I think there could be a couple now very, very, very long shot possibilities of them getting like a young talent to build around in this trade. I know we talked about with the Thunder way back. I'm like, what if they did just like Jalen Williams to have him be the centerpiece there? Another one that honestly I think could get more traction than it should. And I'm very much on the fence with this for personal reasons.
Magic.
There are talks of Paolo not being happy in Orlando.
Really?
Of him being and growing unhappiness with their Magic's coach Mosley. What if they did some type of trade where then there wouldn't be many picks that have to be involved in it because Paolo is certainly a centerpiece.
Yeah.
What if all of a sudden Paolo went to Milwaukee and with some package and Giannis came to Orlando?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure if I want that. As a Magic fan, I'm torn with that.
Yeah.
Because I love Paolo. But if he's growing frustration, the last thing we want is to send him to LA. Because that's what we always do with our star players who grow frustrated.
Right.
So
not
at least
any names, but his name rhymes with Mac.
And fight as well. So if we can get a top player that's in the league now, if we're thinking win now, well then we attempt it. The issue is how many picks will we have to give as well, because we just gave a slew of picks for Desmond Bane, who is doing great, by the way, but we already gave a bunch of picks for that. We can't give a bunch of picks for this, too.
Yeah, right. You'd be mortgaging everything you have on what you'd be able to get now. And so the team that gets thrown around the most in this conversation, at least right now, and we haven't touched on it yet, is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they have been brought up a lot. Giannis would be a very interesting fit next to Anthony Edwards. I think that's a very curious personality mix.
Yep.
I don't know how that would work. I don't know if the trade is even possible. I would imagine it would have to be, Gobert or Randall or...
you're definitely including Randall since they play the same position.
Yeah, I mean, you would think.
Yeah.
But then what else is there to dump, in
Conley.
order to... I mean, yeah, well, and again, that's how trades work. I mean, Conley is certainly an expiring contract and an expiring player.
Yep.
But you got to have some pieces on top of that to give away. I mean, I'm assuming Rob Dillingham would be part of that. Does Jaden McDaniels become part of that?
Right.
How much would you be willing to sacrifice?
And how many picks? Giannis? And how many picks are they willing to give up? Since they gave up so many to get Gobert in the first place.
Right, and they gave up 4 first-round picks to get Gobert. So. Non-consecutive, by the way. And that's really the tough part about trades in the NBA, right? You got to make the money work. You're not allowed to trade consecutive first-round picks. So if you trade your 2026, you can't trade your 2027.
Yep.
Right? If you trade your 2027, you can't trade your 2028.
You can offer a swap for it, but you cannot trade it altogether.
Exactly.
Now let me throw this at you. Is there anything left that Milwaukee could do to keep Giannis?
I don't know. I mean, I just think Milwaukee's roster is in such rough shape now.
Because you tried to switch the coach, and that failed miserably.
That was such
You
a
brought in Dame Lillard. That didn't work. Now, granted, he got hurt.
I know what they were trying to do with trying to upgrade from Mike Budenholzer, but I never understood getting rid of Mike Budenholzer for Doc Rivers.
Well, they did. They got rid of Mike Budenholzer for Adrian Griffin, who did great, and then they got rid of him for Doc Rivers.
Right. So, yeah, I'm looking at this now. I just don't know where they go from here. I really don't. Right? Like, yeah, this Bucks team is just not that good. It's not that deep.
No.
Right? I mean, Kyle Kuzma, Miles Turner. Miles Turner, by the way, who you just signed. Bobby Portis, who's been there for a long time. I mean, there just really isn't much here.
I mean, right now they're the 7th worst team in the NBA.
I would go as far to say even that the Bucks should trade Giannis.
I agree.
I think this is getting to the point where forget about trying to keep him. Like, now you've got to really focus on figuring out what you can get for him and figure out what you can get for everybody else too. Mm-hmm. I would be looking into trading Kyle Kuzma. I'd be looking into trading, Kevin Porter Jr. I'd be looking into trading some of these guys that might have some value just to get some sort of rebuild material, right? And listen, the Bucks cannot be viewed as a failure. Or as
No, they won a championship.
They won a championship. It worked. Giannis with Chris Middleton and Brooke Lopez and Drew Holiday, it worked. It won you a chip. Okay? Championships are hard to come by in the NBA, especially now when, I mean, stardom is not even as big of a thing now as it was then when it was LeBron and Kobe and Tim Duncan winning all the championships. That's not really what the case is anymore. Okay? So this is, an interesting spot for the Bucks to be in, and rebuilding in the NBA is a pain, and it takes forever because it really does matter if you land that big player, right? If you land that guy that can potentially turn into a star. That's how that's how that league works.
Yeah.
But I think, if you hang on to Giannis too long, you turn into the Clippers, right? You turn into a team that gets too old, that has no direction, that's not getting any better. That's kind of what I think the Bucks are heading towards if they don't make a move like that.
Well, then let me ask you this, because the NBA trade deadline is a week from today.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, how confident are you that by the time we are on the air next week, Giannis is on a new team?
75%. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen. And like I said, you agreed with me in that sense of Giannis is going to get traded. Mm-hmm. Okay. But you said also that there's a possibility of him getting traded in the offseason. Do you think he's traded by next week?
I'm leaning slightly towards yes, but not nearly as. I'm going to go 55% he's traded, because I think Milwaukee is going to be asking for more than what teams are willing to offer.
Maybe more. I mean, I could see a world where Milwaukee is asking for more than what teams have. Milwaukee is going to have limited trade partners. Now, I still think a deal gets done, but they're going to have limited trade partners just because the amount of things that they'll want back, only a few teams are going to be able to provide.
Mm-hmm.
And Giannis doesn't want to go to a loser, right? Giannis doesn't want to go to the Hornets. He doesn't want to go to Brooklyn. I'm sure he wants to go to a winner, a legit winner. So of the winners, of the teams that have legitimate title aspirations or with Giannis would, I mean, that chops the league in half at least. So,
I think it chops out about 2/3.
yeah, right.
Because you're realistically looking on the East. You're gonna, like Detroit, New York, Boston, Toronto, Orlando, Miami, because they're somehow still in that conversation. But again, I don't see Miami then becoming a title contender with that in him. The rest could, and then in the West, you have OKC, Spurs, Rockets, Wolves, Warriors. I don't see how Denver could make a move because that would just also be disgusting.
Jokic is out for the year. It's not happening.
Right. So yeah, we're really down to roughly 8 to 10 teams that could potentially be worth it.
And then
for Giannis, and then the question is, would it be worth it for the Bucks organization?
Right. Of those teams, which of those teams will actually be able to put together a package that'll entice the Bucks enough to allow them to let him go? Do you want to make a prediction?
As far as what team he goes to?
Yeah, make a prediction of if he does get traded. Let's just say he does.
Okay.
Where does he land?
So if he gets traded in the next week, I'm torn between two teams, honestly.
Okay.
If he gets traded next week, he's going to be going west. He will not stay in the East.
I agree.
And he will end up either a Warrior or a Rocket.
A Rocket would be interesting. I really think that there's steam to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that there's something there. Like I would say if I had to put money on a destination today.
And we know how great you are in putting money on things because you did that all with your playoff picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm rich now. I would say Minnesota is the spot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they make that trade work, but they're interested for a reason.
Yep.
And that might be, I mean, listen, they might just be like, you know what? Screw it all. It doesn't matter what we give up. As long as we keep Anthony Edwards, we're just going to run it with Anthony Edwards and Giannis until Giannis's legs fall off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and in the West, in the NBA, that's not a bad strategy.
Yeah.
That could work.